working moms.
Hey, working dads.
Hey, aspiring working parents.
And allies of working parents.
Are you in search of your pillow?
Does it take you 24 hours just to get out the door in the morning?
Are you the family ATM?
Or the family Uber driver?
Are you on a Zoom call for work while carpooling while also watching a practice?
If so, welcome to our world, the Parents at Work podcast.
I'm Lori.
I'm Jason.
We are married.
And we have two wild and crazy redheaded boys.
We're here to shine a light on the roller coaster ride that is working parenthood. I'm a healthcare lawyer and founder of a working parent community called Mindful Return.
And I'm an executive coach with Ready, Set, Launch, LLC. I wrote a cool book called Relationships to Infinity.
And I wrote a cool book called Back to Work After Baby. Hello and welcome back to the Parents at Work podcast. It's good to see everybody, and this is the back to school edition of the podcast.
Back to school.
Back
to
school.
Woohoo!
We are recording this a few weeks before our children return, and we're also recording it on a day that's been a little topsy-turvy for us. We initially planned to record this podcast a couple of hours ago, and then, kids and life and all the things shifted. So I feel like we're in that mindset of sands moving underneath our feet, which is a perfect entree into this conversation.
Yeah, well, and on top of it, it's a Monday. We're recording on a Monday, so it's like the sand beneath the feet, and it's a Monday, and all
and
these
I'm
things.
Hungry, and you're on deck for making dinner. So after this, we're gonna go eat.
And we know what happens when you get hungry, so we're gonna make this quick.
We'll see what happens. Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, so back to school is on everybody's minds. Okay, quick survey question for you, Jason. Yesterday I had, or 2 days ago, over the weekend, I had two different conversations with two different friends. One said, I can't wait to get back into the school routine. The summer stuff is driving me bonkers. I need things to settle down. And the other one said, oh, I'm so sad to leave the summer vibe. I'm not really ready for the kids to go back. Which camp are you in?
Ooh. I am in the summer vibe.
Yeah.
I'm really in the summer vibe. I'm still feeling the France trip. I'm still in this place of, wow, that was restorative. So I'm kind of digging the summer vibe. And
Cool.
It's not that hot out right now in DC, which is rare for August. So bring on the summer vibe.
Bring on
What
the summer
camp
vibe.
what camp are you in right now?
It's August 3rd today, and summer is here, and I am savoring that. And when school comes, I think I'll be ready for that too. I'm in the let's be in the moment vibe.
Good vibe.
Yeah. A couple of years ago, when our kids were 10 and 12, I interviewed them about how to do a better back to school, how to make the transition smoother for kids. And I was taking notes, and I just wanted to share a couple of the things that they said when we had this conversation. Our youngest son said, just take every Wednesday off. I'm not quite sure how he was thinking of accomplishing that, but it was a tip. Our eldest son said, Mom, kids can't have a smooth return. I said, okay, there's some truth there. Then the youngest said, this conversation is stupid. And our eldest retorted with, Mom, we are the wrong audience for this question. So we're not talking to kids today. They don't seem to have the perspective that we need to have a conversation about the return to work, but I'm sure they'll have their own conversations. In the meantime, we are here to talk about what it is like as a parent to have children go back to school.
Yeah, so Lori, tee us off. What's your perspective when we say back to school? How do you think about that concept?
Yeah, so I run a program called Mindful Return.
I've heard of this.
Anything that anyone returns to, I think, has similar themes that can be applied. So I like to think of the return to work after parental leave, which is what Mindful Return is about, as a 1-year period of transition after you have a baby. and not to think about your return to work after having a baby as like a 1-day return event or a 1-week event. I don't want to say that the return to school is an entire year transition because that would be really horrible. But I do encourage everyone to think about the return to school as an entire month-long transition rather than just a singular event. You know, if at the end of the first week of school, you're like, why isn't everybody in a routine yet? And why haven't we figured this out? You're going to get really anxious and stressed, right? So let's think about basically the whole first 4 or 5 weeks of school as an adjustment period and be really patient with ourselves, right? Don't overbook our weekends in those first couple of weeks back. Like, pay attention to making sure that we have downtime. And the other thing I'd say is, in light of expecting transitions, and we've seen how transitions can rile kids up, I think it's important for us as parents to remember that there's probably going to be a roller coaster of emotions. And that emotions are contagious in any state. And so we might have some wild parent emotions. We might have some wild kid emotions. And like, I think setting that out as an expectation and saying, this might happen. I'm going to be kind to myself and say, oh, right. This is back to school season. I think can help everybody sort of bring the temperature down a little bit.
That is some insightful observations because I think we've seen it.
Yeah,
we've
definitely seen it. Yeah.
It's like starting a new job.
Yes.
It's like starting a new job. It's like, where am I going? Where am I sitting? There's a new office or a new virtual. It's a new computer. It's like all new, and you don't know where you are.
Yeah. I think in that spirit, it helps for us as parents, but also for the kids to think through major transitions in life that they've gone through before, right? Remind them of how they felt at the beginning of last school year, or if they're in kindergarten, maybe remind them of or they're starting kindergarten, some other transition. Have they moved to a new house? Did they get a sibling? Did they start a new class or activity before, and how did they feel when they started that? I think reminding them that they have gotten through that period of change in the past for other things can help them remember that they can have confidence about it now too.
Those are some good prompts. When do you think would be a good time to like have that conversation?
I think closer than now. Like, we're still a few weeks out. And, kids and sense of time, like, if it's not happening tomorrow, it may as well be 5 years from now.
Yeah.
So I think probably a little bit closer. But I think it's time, like, maybe right before school starts or when you start noticing some anxiety on their part, right? I think it's really like follow the kids' lead. If they're not anxious about it, you don't need to remind them of past difficulties they've gotten over. Let them run with the joy, right? But if they're starting to exhibit some anxiety, I think that's where you start having more of these conversations. And I think it's important for us as parents to start having the internal dialogue now and to talk to other parents about how they've navigated the transition back to school before. And, if you have a little pit of dread in your stomach about the chaos of the back to school season, let's remind ourselves that we've done this before too. We've been through it. We've navigated it. We've figured out the schedules. Sure, there's some chaos, and we've done it. So, Jason, what's at the top of your list in terms of things you think parents should be thinking about during this return season?
As you were just talking, I was saying to myself, you and I should sit down and look at like those couple of weeks and bake in some time for either quiet reflection, a walk, so that we're present. So that's our homework. So that was, as you were talking, I was like, oh, wow, that's like a calendar opportunity that we can certainly have. And speaking of calendars, the cool thing is that when the schools are sending you all that information, I think it's a good use of time to just block all the school holidays, and they put it in different colors, and not every school is the same, but just to have those calendars open so that when it's a professional day and when it's a holiday and when it's a parent-teacher conference day, and just to map that out is super helpful, especially with somebody with ADHD, just to have it in the calendar.
Yeah, put
Very
it all
helpful.
in the calendar now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that you know that on March 17th, or I'm just making this up, school is closed for no good reason, but it is closed.
Yeah.
And you will need to figure out what to do about that.
Yeah. And so when school's closed, then, what are the care options? Are there camps that you can send them to, or aftercare, or just generally like you're going to need care on those particular days? So just to be able to map that out. And then even as you're looking at the week, do you have aftercare covered, and who's going to be doing drop off and pickup? And so just getting back into that flow of like who owns what, so that there's clarity just in case, something happens, that you have an extra set of hands, because I think it's just important to have that conversation on care.
Yeah.
So
I just had a memory, Jason, of when I was working at a law firm and backup care was offered through one of the backup care providers. And we looked at one of the weeks when there wasn't going to be childcare and arranged for the backup care people to come to our house. And we were even able to call in advance and sort of schedule that. So I'd say one thing to do is to check with your employer if you're employed by an entity and see if they have any backup care. And if so, you might be able to use the backup care for some of those days when school is scheduled to be closed for random reasons.
Yes, and there's a lot of randomness in all of it. Mm-hmm. And in addition, when you look at your calendars, I was just talking to somebody today that, their 3-year-old has started soccer. And so, if they're having practices and they're having games, getting that into the calendar also is helpful, just to see, all right, if somebody's on travel or whatnot, so that that you might need an extra set of hands. So all the activities, getting that into the calendar also is a good use of time. So you at least have an understanding of what's happening in the week after school.
Yeah.
So
calendar Tetris. And I guess it would make sense also for us to just put a plug in for the weekly calendaring conversation that you and a partner can have if you're parenting with a partner about the upcoming week and who's doing what. And I feel like that's a critical component of our weekend.
Yeah, I think we'll put the weekly calendaring blog post in the show notes to have that, here are the 5 things we need to hit, what's going to happen next week, so that there's just clarity on, who owns what. Mm-hmm. So all right, when you think about this, Lori, who are the other people that you think you need to have conversations with in back to school?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we talked just briefly about your partner. Is there anything else? Now is the perfect time to talk about division of household labor, etc. And then you also have to have the conversations at work. So maybe we stay with your partner, the home front, your caregivers, and then we can switch to the work front.
Yeah, I think one of the things I keep coming back to in those conversations is no right or wrong. You just play to your strengths and what you feel comfortable with. And there'll be times where you're going to be doing the uncomfortable, because if your partner or spouse is out of town or in a meeting, or if something happens, we often talk about when the kids were younger, we always had an EMT for the day, that if one of the kids was homesick or whatever, one of us would be the EMT and call out. So, I think division of labor is really important on all of this, because that's going to then change, because if they're doing activities, there's going to be more laundry, there's going to be more all these things. So that means
pivoting.
Pivoting. Yes, a lot of pivoting.
And lots of conversations. Yeah. But I was going to say, just remember that however you divided labor in the household over the summer does not have to be how it gets divided in the fall. So just remember that these are evolving conversations.
I'm wondering, Lori, in thinking about our weekly conversation, how much at first did you look forward to it? And as we've looked at our weekly conversations, how do you think that has evolved?
Yeah, I think we are both planners, and I know that is not true of every couple. And so it brings me great joy to have an idea of what's about to happen, even if that idea doesn't come to fruition. So
Sure.
I used to view our weekly meetings as like a hot date on the couch to sit together on a Saturday night. Now it's more of a, okay, well, maybe over the breakfast table, let's figure out who's going to cook which days and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Did you have strong feelings about our weekly meeting, Jason?
Well, even pre getting diagnosed ADHD, I'm a huge fan of a checklist. So I was always excited about, is the checklist right? Are there other new things we need to put on the checklist? Are we maximizing the questions we're asking ourselves to get the maximum output? So I think the early management consultant in me was just excited about the checklist itself. And, certain times then we'd have a glass of wine with the checklist. So that was definitely hot date on the couch.
Yep.
So, yeah. So
So
we've got the conversations with the spouse. What about work, Lori? How do you think about those conversations?
Yeah, so I think the most important thing is have some conversations at work about the fact that it is back to school season, and that probably affects a lot of people throughout the organization. I'd say if you are a manager, raise this fact with your team and ask them, hey, what does back to school season bring up for you? Are there particular weeks when maybe we should dial back the intensity if we can, or rearrange people's schedules so that you can be there for particular first days of drop off, pick up, whatever? So I think number one is bring it up. If you're a manager, bring it up. If you're someone who is a direct report and you have a regularly scheduled meeting with a manager, there are ways to have productive conversations without saying, my kids are going back to school and I'm not going to be able to work properly. No, that's not how we're framing this. We're starting with shared commitments. So, hey, manager, you and I are both really committed to getting this project done. I'm so excited about it. I'm really happy to be part of the team. Wanted to give you a heads up that school's starting and things are just going to be a little rocky over the next couple of weeks. I'm anticipating that this one date might be really hard for us to meet as a deadline. Like, is there any way we can massage it? I'm just making up a scenario here, but like, there are ways to raise the issue in a professional and competent sounding way that still get the point across that you might need a little leeway over the next couple of weeks. What are your thoughts on that, Jason?
Yeah, I think the fact, and you hear me say this all the time, nothing important never happens just in one conversation, but a series of conversations. And so starting the conversation is actually the best way to go about this, because you want to see the reaction. You want to see where they're coming from. So, yeah, I'm in agreement that you need to vocalize that you're going to need something a little bit different for a moment in time. And that you just want to continue to show that you're committed. It's just that you're just going to need a little assistance during this period.
Yeah,
So.
and as you were saying, it's multiple conversations. So maybe in August you can tee it up like, "Oop, this is a challenging time of year," and then think about what your very specific asks might be. Like, on a particular day, do you absolutely need to leave at this particular time? Are you asking to push off a deadline by 48 hours? Or, what is it that you're asking for? Think about that before you go into the conversation. So you're not saying, well, hey, fix the situation for me and give me things I don't even know that I need.
I mean, case in point, we were, at a friend's yesterday over the weekend where she was talking about they had a 5 o'clock call, and it was always at 5 o'clock.
Every day. Yeah.
Every day. And there were some things that were changing. And she asked, can we do this at noon? And everybody's like, thank you for saying that. Because the 5 o'clock call went from 5 to 7. And so now that they're moving it to noon, that's not going to get into the evening time. So I think that too often people don't speak up, and in reality, other people are probably feeling the same way. So the work was still getting done. Just, instead of a 5 o'clock meeting, it's a noon meeting. That's fine.
Yeah. So. And I'm not so naive to think that everyone is going to warmly welcome conversations about your children in the back to school, right?
Yeah.
There, you may have a manager who gives you a side eye and is like, I never want to hear about your kids again, in which case then you know how they stand on the subject. If you are in a position of power within your organization, meaning you have some political clout, you are a manager, you are a leader, it is super helpful for you to talk about the back to school because it makes everybody else allowed. It gives them permission to talk about changes like this. And so if you have a voice in your organization and you're able to use it without jeopardizing your job, please use it for the
That's a
benefit
great
of
point.
everyone around you. Yeah.
Great point. Great point.
Awesome.
So we've talked about the relationship at work. How are you thinking about that wonderful school supply list that's coming your way?
Oh, they always send it out like late, and then there are 50 things on it, and they're hard to read. And I think that the most fun way that we have done back to school supply shopping has been at the end of various longer car trips that we've taken. We've like stopped at random dollar stores and places where prices of stuff are just lower because they're not in the city where we're living, and pulling them up on our phones in some random town. So I'd say, like, if you can incorporate school supply shopping into some adventure you're already having, why not? I mean, yes, there's also always order online, but yeah. Your favorite? Yes.
My favorite is Kansas City, Kansas, when we were driving across America and we hit Target in Kansas City, Kansas, because for some reason they were running a sale on all the things that we needed. So we just pulled up our school supply list when we were driving across America and coming back home. Hail to the Target in Kansas City, Kansas. That was awesome.
Yeah. The other thing that I am proud of us for this year, because our kids are older and they need, fewer fun-looking erasers and more technology needs. I'd say what I'm proud of us for this year is one of our sons needed a new device to take to school, and we decided on the amount that we were going to contribute toward this device, and he wanted something fancier and souped up and able to play more games and stuff on it. And we told him, if you want the souped up thing, then you will pay the delta between the amount that we're giving you to buy this thing and the fancy version you want. And he went and shoveled driveways over the winter and did some parent helping and watered people's plants and figured out how to earn the money. And so
side hustle.
Yeah.
Side hustle. Yeah.
And he's so happy with that device that he got because he had a vested interest in it.
Yeah. He put in the work.
Yeah.
He put in the work, and he got the dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you raise a good point. And it's nice to see that.
Yep. Okay. So I think we have sort of parallel themes that we're each going to conclude with here. And being Mr. Relationship Man, author of Relationships to Infinity, talk to us about how the return to school in the fall is a relationship building opportunity.
One of the things I miss most about elementary school is drop off and pick up. Because
you don't mean you going to elementary school.
No.
The thing that you miss most about your own experience in elementary school. No. Jason once got sat on by a teacher in elementary school. Or was that middle school? Anyway, I just wanted to say that would never happen today. So I'm sure you don't miss that part.
No, but dropping the kids off at elementary school,
I miss that too.
You would see all these parents, and it was like this social piece where you could talk to someone for 5 or 10 or 15 minutes in the morning before you had to go. And you knew you were going to see certain people either drop off or pick up. And I think that from a mindset perspective, once you get the glory of finally getting out the door, which, depending on what's going on in the house in and of itself is a blessing. But when you finally get to the playground, go say hello. And I one of the things, and I care deeply about this, is watching both my mom and my dad as role models. My mom was active in PTA for as long as I can remember. My dad, showed up, for different sports activities. And so for those that can, raise your hand, be a class parent, think about PTA. That's something that I had gotten involved with in elementary school. And to this day, the other parents that I sat with on that board have become friends and, all these other things because taking the time. So I encourage everyone. I know that, we're all busy in different ways, but, doing that I think is just really, really important. And I think finally, I think one of the things that is something you all can be intentional about is introducing yourself to the teachers. And saying hello and seeing how you can be helpful. And so that the teachers can also get a chance to know you and every year I would go say hello to the teacher. Hi, I'm Jason. We're going to do the Hanukkah party. Let's make the latkes and let's talk. And so it was just a unique way and getting to know them and what they're trying to do because they're human beings also. So I think a lot can happen on the playground as parents. So, which is, a lot of fun. And that investment just continues onward. So Lori, when you think about...
So I said we were going to be offering different perspectives, right?
Yes. So that's my perspective. Back to school. Woohoo! So,
join the PTA, be the parent, room parent, do the thing.
Wait a minute, you've come around. All right, but yes, go ahead. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm not the type inherently to just linger on the playground. Like, that's not me. I'm like, get in, get out, drop the kid, let's move along. I got other things to do. I got other people to see, etc. And even if you fall into that camp, I would encourage you to maybe pick one day a week. If that's too much, one day every other week when you do that lingering. Because I also really miss the elementary school playground now that our kids are older and they're not there. And I formed some amazing relationships with people who I'm still friends with to this day and who really helped us navigate the whole elementary school scene. Yes, Jason?
And you even get invited annually to a mom group where she's left our community, gone to a different city, and she wants to see everybody. So she throws an evening every year just to say hello. And it's been years.
And it has been years. Yeah. And I'm super grateful to that, for that. And I miss it. And I'm glad to have that community. So if there's like the gathering of the parents who are all in the same class as your kid, like go to the event, even if you're like, oh my gosh. Okay. And
how did you get over the discomfort?
I'm not there yet. No. I have gotten over the discomfort, but I'm not there in my story yet, Jason. So just hold tight. So the other thing that I know working parents need to keep in mind is the setting of boundaries. There are a lot of us who are natural people pleasers. We don't want to upset anybody. We want everything to go smoothly. And Dr. Brene Brown has this fantastic boundary setting quote that actually is directly related to school. And she says something along the lines of, I believe in choosing discomfort over resentment. And she says, if you see me standing on the playground with someone showing me a PTA sign-up sheet and I close my eyes and start chanting, you'll know exactly what I'm saying. Choose discomfort over resentment. Choose discomfort over resentment. It might be uncomfortable to say no, but it's a heck of a lot better than resenting the fact that you said yes when you're like trudging along, making these phone calls, doing the kid that like. If it's going to make you resentful to say yes, don't say yes. It brought you joy. It did not bring you resentment to volunteer for the PTA and the different things that you did at the elementary school. It brought joy, not resentment. For me, it would have brought massive amounts of resentment. I did not sign up for a single class parent gig. I volunteered for a handful of field trips along the way, and that was all. And to get over the reluctance to go to the playground, for example, and hang out, I did remind myself of the cool people I met and the people I wanted to see. And maybe you're rubbing off on me a little bit because I am involved now at our younger son's school and one of the committees. And it was because I really cared about the mission of that particular committee. I liked the person running it, and I wanted to get to know more people in a school community that we hadn't previously been part of. And so let yourself evolve over time. You don't have to commit to anything permanently. And if I'll also call on Greg McKeown's quote about if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. So like, remember that when you're trying to decide how much to get involved.
I am thrilled to see over time that while this was not natural to you, you are slowly getting involved at middle school. Mm-hmm. And that's a good thing. That's a very good thing.
Yeah.
So, and how does that feel to like go from no to, all right, let me try?
It feels like I'm in a different season of life, and therefore I have different capacity now than I did when I was trying to keep two small people alive and pumping milk and doing a drop off at school plus a drop off at daycare. And like, that was just a different scene. And now I'm in a different space and I have different capacity and it feels good. So I think, we all have different seasons. We can all evolve into them. What is a hell no today might not be a hell no tomorrow. Keep an open mind. You never know.
Like it.
Yes.
I like it. Very great advice.
Awesome. So we wish you all as smooth a transition back to the school year as possible. My parting words of advice are to view the transition as an experiment. See what it's going to be like for the kid to have this particular teacher. See what the outcome is going to be of encouraging a kid to do a particular activity. It might go well. It might be the biggest disaster that's ever happened. Either way, you're just trying it out. It's not permanent. Things can change, people can change, situations can change. Give it a try. We'll see what happens.
I love the word experiment. As you know, that's my word of the year. And
yes,
as you're describing it, I have the image of Dr. Bunsen Honeydew and his assistant Beaker with their experiments. So,
yeah. Okay. Go forth and don't burn the place down. Bye, everybody. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for joining.
Bye.